Take a moment to really listen. Take a deep breath. It is not a mistake that you are in this place and time at this exact moment. The universe, with its infinite intelligence, doesn't depend on luck. The steps you took to get to this screen, every click, search, and quiet moment of longing, were all carefully planned out. This is not a random video you found. It is an energetic checkpoint. When the frequency of your soul's deepest calling gets strong enough, a guide like this shows up in your physical world. A spiritual truth is so powerful that once you remember it, nothing or anyone will ever be able to control you again. You're not going to learn a secret. You're going to wake up a memory that has been sleeping in your cells. This truth has been covered up for hundreds of years, not to keep you from seeing it, but to keep it safe until you were ready. This is the universe's way of saying, the time is now. Do you sense that slight emptiness? That feeling that no matter what you do or get, something important is missing. It's the sound of a truth that you have forgotten. You've learned to think you are small, limited, and alone because the world has been noisy. It taught you how to make a persona out of yourself that was never really you. At that point, you forget everything, but you still search, strive, and obey. Well, today is the first day of the great remembering. These things you want, peace, love, and clarity, are not out there to be found. In the quantum field of your being, it is already a fully formed reality. All you need to do is tune into its frequency. Do not leave me now. I will show you where this memory is kept when we are done with this trip. This is not in a dusty scroll or a faraway temple. It is in something you carry with you all the time. Are you all set? Because you can't go back after hearing this truth again. Please take a moment to subscribe to this channel before we all cross this line. Think of this as more than just a click. See it as a strong commitment to remembering. When you subscribe, you let the universe know that you are ready to receive the constant stream of activations and insights that will help you awaken. If you feel called to spread this energy even more, you might want to share this transmission right now. Sharing something on purpose sends out waves in the quantum field that help this message reach people in your soul tribe who are vibrating at the same frequency and are ready to awaken with you. You can tell a deep truth is close by when you feel the pull. Now it's time to show you where the key to your soul's freedom has been hiding. What's really amazing is that ancient civilizations that lived on opposite sides of huge oceans and impassable mountains talked about the same thing. How did this happen? There were no phones, computers, or other ways for them to share what they knew. At the same time, the great masters taught something in the temples of Egypt, the ashrams of India, and the mystery schools of Greece that is very different from what we know today about life. They taught that the soul doesn't wake up when a person is born. It goes to sleep deeply. People today think of birth as the start of everything. But for these wise people, birth was the start of the great forgetting. They knew that your soul, or true essence, comes from a place where there is only potential, which we might now call the quantum field. Everything is clear, connected, and whole in that realm. There is no split up, lack, or confusion. You can remember your infinite divine nature when you are in that state of pure wave-form potential. But when your soul comes into a body, something very important happens. It feels like a veil is pulled over your mind. Think of it as quantum decoherence, the point at which the infinite wave of possibility collapses into a single, distinct reality particle. Your limitless energy gets housed in a body. Your eternal existence gets limited by a linear timeline, and your limitless awareness gets filtered through a human mind. There is a fog over what you used to know so clearly. Thoth, an important Egyptian teacher, said that the body is not the problem. The problem is thinking that you are only the body. It was called Maya by the wise people of India, the big illusion that makes the temporary seem permanent and the reflection seem real. Philosophers in ancient Greece said that the soul gets stuck in a cycle of repetition because it is trapped by the illusion of separation and forgets its divine beginning. Can you see the pattern? There is one truth that applies to all cultures and languages, but there's something even stranger about this. They didn't write this down so that everyone could see it. It wasn't written on public buildings or taught in open classes. This deep knowledge was passed on silently from master to disciple, heart to heart, in the holy silence of inner sanctums that only the most dedicated were allowed to enter. Why? Because they knew this truth had a lot of power. This information could be messed up by someone whose heart wasn't ready yet, and whose ego was still in charge. It could be used to feel better about yourself, to control others, or to avoid facing life's problems instead of getting through them. The ancient masters knew that a pure heart is the only way to receive true wisdom. You have to be ready to become what you find out, not just want to know. That's why silence was the best guardian in those holy places. People who came looking for quick answers and challenges to their minds left with nothing. But people who were brave enough to sit in the quiet started to hear something true that had never been written down. They started to feel the first stirrings of a memory they had forgotten. If this ancient truth sounds like something in your soul, click the like button right now. Take this physical action as an energetic yes to the universe, letting it know that you are ready to move past the great forgetting and start your own journey of remembering. There was no show going on inside those old temples when the doors were finally shut behind the chosen few. There wasn't a crowd or a big event. There was only the deep journey inside, silence and darkness. Because your soul had to forget who it thought it was before it could remember who it really is. It was the start of a crossing that not many people could handle. The initiates were led into a room that didn't have any sound or light. This room was meant to dull the 5 senses that connect us to the real world. They were led to a deep state of stillness where even their minds stopped talking all the time. And something inside them started to fall apart, slowly but surely. What was breaking apart wasn't the body, but the persona, the mask, the identity they had worn their whole lives. Their stories about their name, their job, their successes and failures, and everything else started to fall apart. In that complete stillness, it didn't matter at all. Thoth taught that this was the most important time. That's when the ego, or constructed self, starts to fight back when it realizes it's losing control. It projects fears, doubts, and even false spiritual visions onto the initiate to keep them tied to their old, familiar self. It feels like death to the ego when something breaks apart, even if it's just an illusion dying. And the most shocking thing about the process is that the initiate didn't get any new information. They didn't have a master who told them what life was all about or gave them new rules to follow. Adding more information from the outside doesn't help you remember things. It comes from getting rid of everything that isn't true. What's left is what was always there, pure and untouched, below the layers of conditioning. Just picture what that must be like for a moment. There is nothing to hold on to when you face complete emptiness. You alone and naked in front of your own mind. A lot of people could not stand this moment. Some ran back to the world's noise. Others, scared, tried to quickly put on their old masks again. But the few people who stayed and were brave enough to give up and face the void felt something that changed everything. They saw that they didn't need to learn anything new. Instead, they thought back. They thought back to a truth that was so big and deep that words could never describe it. For one moment in time, it seemed like everything made sense. Things like existence, life, and death all fit together in a way that was perfect and quiet. But some people weren't ready for this. And now Thoth's big warning: it's dangerous to go through this portal without being ready. Too much to remember too soon could break the mind. Imagine someone who has been through a lot of trauma and fear, and now all of a sudden has access to the infinite vastness of their true self. It's possible that the high voltage could be too much to handle. To start the trip without being ready and get lost along the way was the biggest risk. You can't really take away what you saw on the other side of the veil once you see it. What if, though, your mind isn't ready to accept that vision yet? What if it tries to change what your soul has seen, making a more convincing lie instead of real freedom? That's why the masters told everyone to get ready. Don't go on this trip just because you're interested. Don't go down this path if you want spiritual power or quick answers. Because if you try to remember who you are before clearing your mind, you might make things more confusing than they were to begin with. It's clear that there is a big problem in your way, now that you know how dangerous it is to connect with your true self before you're ready. It's like an invisible wall that controls almost every part of your life without you even realizing it. It was known to Thoth as the lie of the self. Most people give up at this point and don't even know they were in a battle. To be honest, who would be brave enough to look in the mirror and say that the person they thought they were was just a lie? That is the first obstacle. It's not an enemy from outside. This is your energetic signature, which is made up of everything you think you are. It has been formed since birth. You were set to vibrate at a certain frequency from a very young age. People told you what to think about love, getting ahead, and even yourself. You didn't believe it because you were weak. You did because no one taught you to question anything you were taught. I want you to think about this. How often do you pay attention to your own thoughts during the day? How often do you really ask where they come from? The truth is that most of the things you think every day are not your own. It's when old shows, things you heard, saw, and experienced in the past, play back automatically. These programs drain your life force and keep you stuck in a frequency loop of the past. They run in the background of your mind like an app you don't even know is open. This is also the start of the first real practice on this path. There is no mysterious ritual going on far away. The message is clear, simple, and very difficult. As soon as a negative thought like self-doubt, fear, or anger comes up, I want you to stop and think about it for a moment. Then, ask yourself the question Thoth taught his followers. Is this frequency really mine? Or did someone put it in me? Even though it seems easy, that one question can break through the false self right to its core. Because something inside you starts to break free when you realize that a lot of your emotional pain is not something that is built into your soul, but something that you learned and took on. It's not destruction, it's freedom. Every time you question a thought with love, it's like a chain link breaking. But now comes the tricky part. The ego, which is the identity that was made to protect the false self, will fight to stay alive. It will whisper that it's risky to let go of these old beliefs. It will tell you that you will lose who you are without these thoughts. But the truth is that those thoughts were never you. These things were just crutches for an identity that was afraid to face the beautiful, empty void of what it really was. And in that space, where the old stories used to be, a silence starts to form. This silence might feel scary at first. You have, after all, spent your whole life making mental noise in every space that was available. You'll start to understand that this silence isn't empty if you keep going with it. It has a lot of potential. It's where you can remember something very old. Because when your first false sense of self-identity falls apart, something that has been sleeping since birth starts to wake up. You won't get a new skill or power from anyone. It's a memory that you can't say anything about. It's like an echo coming from deep inside you. As it comes to the surface, the arguments, goals, and dramas that used to drive you start to seem small and far away. Even though the outside world looks the same, your inner reality has already taken a huge step forward. If you feel this shift starting inside you, tell the universe what you want in the comments below. Say to yourself, "My true self is coming out." While you type these words, think of them as a command to your own energy field. This is your soul's way of telling you that you want to let go of the old programming and make room for your true self to shine through. With each keystroke, the frequency loop of the past is broken. As that old memory starts to come back to you, something truly amazing happens. You realize for the first time that there is a way to see the world that doesn't involve your eyes. It is a direct, silent knowing that doesn't think about, judge, or explain. It only perceives. This is what Thoth called the single eye, but we can also call it the eye of the quantum field. There is no magic or mystery behind it. It's just a state of mind where truth is felt and known directly, before it can be thought. You may have already felt this, even if it was only for a moment. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like the energy was off for no reason? Or met someone for the first time and felt like they were hiding something, even though they were nice? That's the eye of the quantum field at work. It is your soul that sees the vibrational reality that lies beneath the surface of how you look. So why does this strong sense don't wake up in most people? Because we are taught from birth to believe what we can see, touch, and reason about. The analytical mind is praised by society, but the silent intuition that is our birthright has been forgotten. The issue is that your eyes only see the surface or effect. The eye of the quantum field sees the frequency, which is the root cause. Here is the first simple practice that Thoth gave his followers that would change their lives. Close your eyes for a short time. Don't keep looking for answers. Stop having thoughts all the time in your head. Don't expect anything. For 10 seconds, don't look, think, or expect anything. Just feel it. Something starts to show up in that sacred little pause. It might not seem like much at first, but that nothing is really everything. Because the eye of the quantum field wakes up in the empty space between thoughts. It's where you leave the mind's busy feedback loop and get information directly from the field of pure potential. This data doesn't have a name or a form, and it doesn't need to be explained. Why is this so important? Because as long as you only look for answers in your head, you will only find ideas, labels, and old information. But when you start to see things through this direct, intuitive sense of feeling, the answers don't come to you in the form of thoughts. When they come, they are clear. There is a deep, unwavering clarity that doesn't need words because it is whole and complete in itself. But now we've reached a very important point. Having this new awareness is just the start. It's like putting your hand through a door that has been shut for hundreds of years. Things are about to get deeper on the other side, but the light is just beginning to come in. Because it's one thing to know the truth. It's a whole different journey to live from that truth. This next step has something that no teacher, book, or video can ever teach you. To do it, you have to tune into the sacred vibration of your own soul. a frequency that you can only remember and not teach. If you've ever had this feeling of knowing deep down, click the like button to make it stronger. Each like on this video is more than just a number. It's a pulse of collective energy, a clear intention that makes the quantum field stronger for everyone who sees it. Your simple click helps other people see with a single eye. Someone or something has been vibrating at the very center of your being since the beginning of time. It's not a voice that talks. You can't hear it with your ears. A vibration so personal and one of a kind that most people go their whole lives without ever being aware of it. This was what Thoth called the invisible name. It's not a name like John or Mary, though. It is the sound that best describes who you are in the language of the universe. It is the soul's unique resonant frequency. Maybe you've felt it before but didn't know what it was. You know that moment of deep peace where, for a split second, everything seems to be in order, even though nothing has changed in the outside world? Or that strong gut feeling that helps you find your way when you're not sure what to think? It's in these soft, quiet times that your soul's frequency comes through. Not as a thought, but as a sure thing that won't go away. People call it your resonant frequency because it doesn't limit you like the names and labels the world gives you do. Your job, your past, or the way you look don't define you. It is the energy of your essence that is pure and open to change. It is the quantum field's record of your soul, and it is definitely and only yours. The most amazing thing is that you have already heard this sound in your heart, not your ears. It has been calling to you ever since you were born. But the everyday noise of worries, distractions, and people always wanting your attention drowned it out. It had been conditioned over and over again. But it didn't go away. It just went to sleep and waited patiently for you to find enough inner peace to hear it again. Your whole view of life changes when you start to tune into this inner resonance. You realize that the answers you were desperately looking for outside of yourself were always stored in your energy field. That empty feeling was never caused by a lack of something outside of yourself. It was caused by being disconnected from your own core frequency. You can never go back to being the person you were before once you make that connection again. But watch out, because this is a very important part of the journey. This strong frequency doesn't just bring peace and light when it wakes up. It's like a strong light source that shines on everything that's been hidden in the dark parts of your being. Things about yourself that you tried to forget, the traumas, fears, and painful memories that you buried deep in your mind, start to come to the surface. Your soul's frequency lovingly brings to your attention all the energetic distortions and incoherent frequencies you've been carrying, in addition to reminding you of your divinity. The next door you need to go through is this one. Because accepting the light is not the only way to remember who you are. It's also about having the courage to accept the shadows with love. When those hidden parts of you come to the surface, you have a choice. You can run away from them and go back to the illusion, or you can face them with kindness and be free for good. If you're ready to take the step toward integration, say this in the comments. I welcome my whole self with love. This will help you feel brave. This is more than just a statement. It's a strong act of kindness toward yourself. It's safe for every hidden part of you to come out into the light and be healed. You won't be judged. This affirmation changes your energy from fighting to accepting things with love, which is what you need to do to truly be clean for good. Something has to happen as the sound of your soul starts to vibrate more strongly. The memories of what hurt you come to the surface along with the memories of who you really are. There is no real light that doesn't also shine on the dark things around it. To many, This is where they turn back. It's easy to look for peace, but it takes strength to face the pain. The word Thoth used for this was soul purification. It's not a punishment. It's a natural way to clean up. Think of your soul as a beautiful river that has been slowed down by rocks and other things that have gotten in the way over time. The water that gives life is still there, but it can't get where it needs to go. The process of cleaning the river just means letting it flow freely again. However, you need to be brave enough to face what has been stopping you. The hurts you tried to forget, the ones from your childhood, the mean things people said to you, and the events that made you feel like you weren't good enough. The most important thing you learn at this stage is that you are resisting the suffering, which is why it keeps happening. When you try to avoid a painful feeling, you make it stronger. When you push down an emotion, it builds up in your energy field like a heavy weight. But something amazing happens as soon as you choose to just look at it, to hold it in your mind without judging or being afraid of it. The pain starts to go away. It's not because you fought it, but because you finally accepted what you had been denying your whole life. What do you think will happen when this cleansing starts? The power of your soul starts to take over your life. Your mind stops being in charge for the first time and turns into the great tool it was always meant to be. Up until now, your mind had control over what you thought, felt, and did. But the soul doesn't yell orders when it wakes up. It leads in silence, with a peace that can't be disturbed. At this point, you might feel a kind of inner silence you never knew was possible for the first time. It's not emptiness. It's a state of being deeply full. That's not the lack of thought. That's the freedom from thought taking over. As of now, you are in the waking architect state. Now that you are aware of it, you are writing your own story instead of just reacting to life's script. Thoth called this the waking trance. But don't mistake this for being hypnotized, where you lose consciousness. That's not true at all. You are more aware and in the present moment than ever before. It feels like you're in the middle of a hurricane, and everything is calm. Even though the world around you is in a state of chaos, there is a deep stillness that can't be moved. A wonderful thing happens when your heart and mind are in this state of coherence, where they are in tune with the frequency of your soul. It feels like time is slowing down, which is strange because it used to feel like an enemy. When you are fully present, each moment grows, so there is no longer a constant rush. Anger and sadness that used to control you no longer do. You notice when anger comes up and let it go without becoming angry. Stress is just a bunch of thoughts about the future that you don't have to follow. The ego could never give you this kind of inner freedom because it lives off of automatic responses. But the soul is free. From a clear place, it sees, understands, and acts. The way you see other people may change the most. You no longer see them as separate people. Instead, you see them as souls on their own paths of remembering, each with their own problems. And this makes a real, quiet compassion come up. So long as the mind has been in charge, it won't be easy for it to give up its throne. It will start to whisper, "This is nice, but it won't work in real life." In real life, this won't work. This is where the real test starts. If you want to be the waking architect of your life, click the like button to make that choice stick. This act should serve as a physical declaration of your sovereignty. You are sending a clear message into the field that you are no longer a victim of life, but the calm, aware creator of your experience. It's easy to remember who you are when you're meditating in silence. Being able to hold on to that memory of your true self when you return to the noise of the world is what makes it hard. As Thoth said, the true alchemist is one who walks awake amongst the sleeping and does not let them lull him back to sleep. The world won't stop so you can keep your peace. The traffic, the deadlines, and the never-ending stream of news stories that make people afraid all keep going. People around you will also try to pull you back into old dramas, often because of their own unconscious stories. Here, you can choose whether the coherent frequency of your soul or the noise of the world is in charge. In real life, this starts with small, planned actions. The first is being aware of being there. Being where your body is all this means. If you're going to wash the dishes, you should be there with the soap and water. Listen with all of your being when you're talking to someone. Because your mind is used to running on autopilot, it will always try to go back or forward in time. Bring it back to the present moment with love and care. In this way, you improve your capacity to hold your frequency. The second step is to learn how to be actively silent. There can be a space of silence inside you even when you are in the middle of a heated argument. You don't have to refuse to speak. You just have to refuse to automatically react. Your real power is in that very short time between a stimulus and your response. During that pause, you can choose what will happen. This third point is about taking active responsibility. Watch, listen to, and interact with things that feed your vibration, so pay close attention to what you take in. Your frequency will drop if you only think about fear and anger all the time. Putting yourself around people who complain all the time will drain your energy. Spiritual self-care means being very careful about what you let into your mind and heart. It's how you keep your newfound coherence safe. Over time, this practice changes the way you live. It stops bothering you when things that used to bother you happen. People who used to bother you can't change how you feel because your peace isn't tied to what's going on in the outside world. In your own reality, you have assumed the dominant frequency. But be careful. Thoth said that the mind doesn't like to lose control. You will be put to the test. You'll hear it whisper that you're being silly and that this is all in your head. In those times, you need to gently remind yourself of who is now in charge. Plus, as you keep doing this, something amazing starts to happen. Because your awareness grows so much, you start to remember things that were even further hidden. Rememberings that last longer than this life. You might start having vivid dreams, strange déjà vu feelings, or a strong, hard-to-explain gut feeling about people and places. It's your soul starting to get to records that have always been there, stored in the quantum field's huge database. This brings up a new, deep question. If these memories are coming back, what else does your soul know that you don't know? Make your choice to be this stable presence in your own life official by writing in the comments, "I am the calm in the chaos." Use this as a rock to hold on to when life gets rough. When you type these words, they send a strong message to your subconscious mind and the quantum field that you are no longer a victim of outside events. At the center of your universe, you are the sovereign, silent observer who can keep your peace no matter what happens around you. When these deeper memories start to come back to you, you realize something that changes the way you see the world forever. Your birth in this life, which you thought was the start of your story, is actually just one chapter in a huge cosmic book. Thoth made it clear. Your soul did not come into the world with your body. The body is only temporary, but the soul is a traveler who never stops. Most of the time, these memories don't show up as clear, movie-like scenes. Some of them show up in the challenges you can't seem to get away from in your daily life. Why do you keep getting the same type of partner, the same problem at work, or the same thing that makes you feel bad? It's just bad luck. It's your soul lovingly calling your attention to energy from a past journey that hasn't been resolved. Every situation that keeps happening and bothering you is an echo, a loose end in your vibration from a different time that needs to be healed and brought together now. One way to think about this is as quantum entanglement. Until they are brought into coherence, certain aspects of your soul's energy are still influencing your present reality. But these old memories don't just make things hard. The gifts you carry also come with them. Your natural talent for music, your strange connection to a different culture, and your deep interest in a subject that most people don't care about are not just random hobbies. They're the echoes of the skills and interests your soul has worked on over many lives. These forgotten skills start to come back to you on their own, ready to be used again as you become more in tune with your essence. A lot of seekers get lost at this point. As soon as they start to think about these bits of memory, their mind starts to put them together into a big story. To satisfy its curiosity and feed its ego, it wants explanations that make sense. But soul memories aren't meant to make your life more interesting. These people are here to free your mind from all of history. You might make a new, more complicated illusion instead of finding freedom if you try to control the process or think about it with a limited mind. You are now faced with a new problem as memories from past lives start to whisper to you. They come in pieces, as feelings that don't make sense on their own. When there is an unknown inside, the natural response is to look for answers outside, in books, gurus, and workshops, desperately trying to find someone who can organize the beautiful chaos that is happening inside. But Thoth made this very clear. There has never been a master outside of you. You are the only one who can lead you through the unique maze of your soul. Assure this multidimensional intention in the comments. I am healing across all timelines. If you believe this to be true and are ready to heal on a deep level, please understand that this is a very important statement. You're not just healing the wounds of this life. You're also sending healing waves back and forth through the quantum field, breaking up the energetic knots that have caused patterns to repeat. You are freeing all of your soul, not just the one you are now. You've always had the real master inside you, the one who can show you ways no one else can. This inner guide doesn't talk like a person. When your consciousness is awake, it talks to you through resonance and felt truth. It's a soft, quiet voice that doesn't try to persuade you of anything, but knows exactly what to do when you turn off all the other noise. For this inner voice doesn't talk to you through logic. It talks to you through a body-based sense of what is right. You feel that peace even when the choice you have to make doesn't make any sense. That knowing that can't be shaken, that comes before a thought even forms. But people who only live in their minds don't notice it because of this. This inner master could be your higher self or even your future self, the version of you that has already finished this journey of remembering. From somewhere outside of time, it sends signals back to you in the present. This is the invisible tow rope we talked about earlier. It is pulling you forward on your path with love and care. When the fully realized future actively affects and guides the present moment, this is a type of retro-causality. How then do you listen to this voice in your daily life? Not by trying to find out more, but by making your mind quieter, by leaving room between your thoughts. Because you are frantically looking for answers, you are blocking the channel through which your higher self is trying to communicate. It's not as bad as your anxiety. Being still is what it wants you to do. This is an easy but important thing to do. Just pause when you have to make a choice, no matter how big or small. Simply close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel. Feel instead of thinking. What feeling comes up in the empty space before your mind starts to argue and debate? That's the voice. It won't try to turn you around. It will only show you the path with the highest resonance. You'll start to notice that this voice doesn't always make you feel better right away. It may point you toward the harder path sometimes, because its goal is not your comfort, but your growth. And it's not always easy to remember things. The intuition doesn't tell the ego what it wants to hear. It tells the soul what it needs to do. This is why so many people don't listen to it. And this is where the toughest test starts. Once you start to believe this inner guidance, your mind knows it is losing power. When that happens, it sets its smartest trap. An evil mask is put on it. "Look at how far you've come," it says in a whisper. "You've changed and grown more than the others. You will be led to believe you are unique. And if you think that, you'll fall into the spiritual ego trap, which many people on the spiritual path fall into. Feel the loving pull of your higher self leading you through this message? If so, show your appreciation by giving this video a like. You could think of it as a conscious thank you note sent to your inner guide through the quantum field. Being thankful for what you have makes the energetic tow rope stronger, which makes its guidance even clearer in your daily life. Now we've reached the most difficult and dangerous part of the spiritual path. This is what Thoth meant by the final enemy. Not a loud enemy from the outside, but a luring whisper from inside. A whisper that sounds so soft that many people think it is the voice of God. It is the ego that wants money or fame, but not just any ego. And this is the ego that hides itself in light and acts like a master, healer, or savior. Thoth said that the last trap is not in the real world. It's the quiet pride that comes up when you start to think of yourself as unique because you've awakened. You could get lost here just when you thought you were safe. Because pride dressed up as wisdom is the real prison, not ignorance. When you start a spiritual path, your ego doesn't go away. It just changes clothes. It gives up worldly vanity for robes that are supposed to be pure. But underneath the mask, it still wants one thing: to be alone. When you think, "I am awake and different from those who are still asleep," you are already in the trap. You've made a new, more subtle frequency of separation. It is also impossible to be truly united with the source when there is separation. This is why so many people who try to follow the light end up making a new kind of darkness: spiritual judgment. When they look at the world, they feel smart because they can see things that other people can't yet. They get information and transformation mixed up. They forget that real light doesn't need to be called out. It just is, quietly lighting up everything around it without wanting to be noticed. How do you know if this game has caught you? Thoth said that the spiritual ego shows itself when you feel the need to correct others, when you silently judge those who are still stuck in patterns you think you've moved past, and when you get impatient with someone else's progress. Being truly awakened doesn't need anyone to keep up with it. It is at peace as it walks along its path. Watch how you react. When someone questions your beliefs, do you answer calmly and honestly, or do you respond with a hint of defense? The spiritual ego has to be right all the time. Awakened consciousness, on the other hand, knows that each soul has its own schedule and lessons. It doesn't get in the way. The important thing is that the ego feeds on the need to be someone. The ego will always be in charge as long as someone wants to be more evolved. You've reached true transcendence when you let go of that need too. When you don't try to be someone else, you just let yourself be. This is where the journey turns into a paradox. You don't have to fight your ego to get rid of it. You just stop giving it food. How does it get food? Compare and contrast. The ego starts to die when you stop comparing your spiritual growth to other people's. Can you love someone who is still lost without trying to change them? That's the last test. If you said yes, you have started to take off the last mask of the ego. For real love loves what is, no matter what. If you want to follow this path to enlightenment, get rid of the last illusion by writing in the comments, "I walk in unity, not separation." This declaration has the power to heal both individuals and groups. You are consciously breaking down the frequency of the spiritual ego in your own field as you type these words. This brings you in line with the universal truth of oneness. You are becoming a symbol of true unity for the world by choosing kindness over judgment and connection over superiority. Something quiet and deep happens when the last mask of the spiritual ego falls away. There isn't a big show or fireworks. There is only a deep, quiet stillness inside. There is a silence that doesn't want praise or thanks. You realize at that moment that everything you were looking for was always inside you. It wasn't something to be earned. It was a state of being that would never end. In this moment, Thoth called it conscious unity. There is no longer any space between you and the universe here. It's no longer possible to seek something and find it. Everything is one unified field of consciousness that flows easily. You can think of it as merging your own awareness back into the source field, which is the quantum ocean of all possible things from which you came. You understand that you are not a drop in the ocean, but the ocean itself. You no longer need to look for answers because you know that the answer is life itself, in all its beautiful simplicity. There are no more questions because the person who asked them has become the awareness that just is. How does this show up in your everyday life? In a way that might surprise you. It's not some kind of altered state where you're not responsible for anything on earth. In fact, you can find conscious unity when you breathe with awareness, when you feel the wind on your skin, and when you take a sip of water and see the miracle in it. Every normal action becomes holy, not because the action itself has changed, but because you are more aware of it. It's no longer a separate part of your life. It's how you live. There's no need for rituals to feel close. Being fully where you are is enough. You don't need to be anywhere else. Thoth said that the best way to reach spiritual enlightenment is to live naturally and without any expectations, to accept life as it is and not fight it. Because when you don't fight it, the source's energy flows through you freely and strongly. You are still a person. Even now, you still have feelings and problems to solve. Now, though, everything takes place in a huge, calm space of awareness. Going through pain can no longer define you. You don't have to hold on to joy. You see both of them as temporary clouds moving through the sky of your being, which is infinite. You don't have to leave the world to return to the source. It just changes how you live in it. However, you are not as caught up in the drama as you used to be. You are the conscious observer, watching the flow of existence and making things with it. As you feel this deep sense of unity and peace, click the like button to seal this energy for good. This action should bring the frequency of the source field into your physical world. This is your affirmation that this state of being is not a goal that is far away, but your natural state that you can reach right now. Now that it's quiet, and there's no longer any space between you and the universe, Thoth tells you the secret he never wrote down, but only told a few people who were ready. It's not a code or a method that holds the secret. It's a simple but deep truth. In the soul, you can't lose anything. You can remember everything. You have had all the knowledge and power of the universe inside you since before you were born. You never lost the truth. It was just hidden. It's only temporary to forget things, but the soul's memory is like a sky that never ends. Pain and limits may have become a part of your life for years, but you never really lost anything. The best part is that your soul doesn't judge you for forgetting. You can remember it whenever you decide to stop looking at the outside world and start feeling what's inside. You will know the last, forbidden truth that has been kept secret for a long time when this living memory happens. People can't be controlled once they remember who they really are. They can't be controlled by fear, limiting beliefs, or any outside system that gains from people forgetting things. All attempts at control fail when the soul remembers its own sovereignty. The real power was never out there. It's been living inside you in the background the whole time. Right now, this is the level of freedom. There is freedom from being a prisoner to nothing, not the freedom to do whatever you want, but the freedom from being a prisoner to life's ups and downs. Now your safety doesn't come from the outside world, but from the unwavering peace inside you. Life's dance is watched by your silent, strong awareness. This is the end of your search. Everything you've been looking for has been here the whole time. You already believe this. You can feel it. That is something that no one can take away from you. This far, you've come because a part of you has already begun to remember. Let this be your energetic message to the universe in the comments below. Write it down. I am remembering who I am. Every soul that felt this truth awaken today, I want to see and feel it. Also, before you leave, I've put together a special video for you to watch. It's the next step on this awakening path. I'll meet you there after you click on it. For those of you who have felt this journey deeply, make this memory a permanent part of your life right now. Now is not the time to seek. Now is the time to be. Say what you know to be true in the comments below. I remember my sovereign power. This is the most important statement of your freedom. Every cell in your body and everything else in the universe gets the message that you can't be controlled, manipulated, or forgotten. You are the one who makes your reality happen, and you are finally fully awake. As you walk around with this new energy, know that you are a lighthouse. Sharing this video is a kind thing to do that sends a strong, energetic signal across the consciousness grid. You are helping souls all over the world remember the same thing, which makes the shift to a new reality stronger as a whole. Make sure you are subscribed and that notifications are turned on so that you can keep getting these energetic upgrades and stay rooted in this frequency of truth. The next part of your quantum journey will be delivered to you directly if the universe has a clear and open channel.